Just a reminder. Next up, I'm honored to welcome Neal Karlen. Is Neal out there? It's your turn, mister.
First, thank you, Lucas, and I think everyone should really give him a hand. This is a pain in the ass. There are a lot of demented egos. Happy almost Valentine's Day. Well, Faith Sullivan to read beforehand, that was great. That is the most Shiksa sounding name. Did you know what a Shiksa is?
Yeah.
It's non-Jewish. And it reminds me because me and my great-grandfather Augie Ratner, who owned Augie's down there, are the only people to marry non-Jews in 4,000 years. I married an SPA graduate. He married 4 strippers. So. Oh, I've got a book coming out about it. A little self-whoring, you know. Anyway, I wrote. This is going to sound like a little name dropping for a second, but just I wrote this 20 years ago. I peaked 15 years ago. Anna, hi. You know, I got fired, not quit. You know. What was I saying? Oh, it was funny. So it'll sound like I'm being all like Wayne Newton is in the story and all these things. And it appeared in the New York Times Magazine in their About Men column. Do you remember when they had an About Men column? And they liked the story, but they so thought it was insane that Harvey Shapiro, the great poet and editor at the Times Magazine, said we have to fact check this before we accept it, which they said was the first time ever that it happened. I think they were flattering me, but it sounded so insane. But they fact checked everything. They called Birch Pharmacy to make sure there was a monopoly set. Anyway, this is about my chick set, and it took place a long time ago when I didn't dress in pinstripe suits, but Ricky kind of. And I haven't read it since it came out, so if I stumble, pick me up. Okay. Oh, and also, the New York Times made such a mistake in here that's haunted me forever. Anyway, they titled it Terminal Kitsch. Our ill-fated Vegas honeymoon showed me that hip isn't from the heart. And it's basically about, 1, don't go to Vegas for your honeymoon, and 2, don't fall in love for the wrong reasons. So, and it's been fact-checked by the New York Times. Contrary to what I tell my friends, Wayne Newton didn't really place a curse on my 3-day-old marriage. Newton, after all, didn't force Sasha and me to honeymoon in Las Vegas. Nor did the Midnight Idol, or Mr. Las Vegas, as he is also called, make us watch his act at the Hilton and write the gushy fan letter that inspired him to invite us backstage. Get what's going on? See? We're on our honeymoon. Okay, I talk too fast. Jews, Italians, Puerto Ricans, we're all the... Go ahead. My wife and I had a long-standing love of the campy aesthetic that recycled the lowest of pop culture, the Brady Bunch, Pop-Tarts, and Wayne Newton, into hipster icons. We hadn't gone to Las Vegas to do anything as lame as gamble. We'd gone to celebrate our marriage amid the tackiness. We wanted to visit the Liberace Museum, make out in Glitter Gulch, and find the Flamingo Hotel where Bugsy Siegel trysted with Virginia Hill. We wanted to hear Wayne Newton and Tom Jones croon. You bored? Yeah. So backstage, when Wayne Newton raised his glass and roasted the happiness of our marriage, his benediction struck Sasha and me as perfectly kitschy, ironically hip. We'd written this to him. A blessing from him seemed completely in line with our courtship, engagement, and marriage. In Sasha, I thought I had met my soulmate. I had never before kissed a woman who really liked the plaster cast bust of Elvis Presley as a Las Vegas fatso that I kept in my living room. I was excited that she admired my autographed Liberace album. The first present Sasha gave me was a 1970 Charlie's Angel bubblegum card of Farrah Fawcett. When I proposed to her, I did it with a Henny Youngman dime and ring, a vaudeville gag that featured a dime soldered to the top of an old metal Cracker Jack ring. A diamond ring. Get it? Henny had said when he gave me the ring a few years ago, I'd been helping him write his memoirs. The king of one-liners had guaranteed me that this was the last one in the world. And at that moment, I knew that one day I'd marry the kind of woman who would accept this as a token of engagement. Kid, the ancient comic, had promised, no true lady can say no to a dime and ring. Sasha said yes to my marriage proposal 10 months after we met and put on the ring. It was cheesy, it was hip, it was true love. We would be hitched within months in the middle of a frostbitten Minnesota winter. Bored? Since Sasha was writing a feminist novel about a professor of women's studies at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and I was writing a novel about 3 generations of a gangster clan with ties to Sin City, available in mid-April. We had a perfect excuse to go there. Though we'd been married by a judge in our hometown of Vegas, because I married a chick, so we couldn't get a rabbi. We had the perfect excuse to go. Though we'd been married by a judge in our hometown of Minneapolis, we planned to renew our vows in Las Vegas at the Graceland Chapel. Cost $45, where an Elvis impersonator is provided as the witness. Just before we left, we noticed newspaper articles saying that Wayne Newton and Tom Jones had become Gen X heroes, and that Las Vegas was once again the vacation spot for the young and style conscious. This seemed like divine confirmation of our honeymoon decision. But sitting in the fire engine red leather banquette, listening to Wayne Newton singing Prince's Purple Rain, we felt a bit ashamed of ourselves for sending him our mawkish note. Our guilt increased tenfold when a bottle of Dom Perignon arrived at our hotel room, compliments of Wayne to our honeymoon. In honor of Wayne, we decided never to drink the champagne. Rather, we would make the bottle a genuine kitsch heirloom to be passed down to our grandchildren and to our grandchildren's grandchildren as a relic of long ago when a great man nicknamed Mr. Las Vegas blessed this family. We're almost there. The honeymoon, we both agreed, was splendid. Imagine my surprise, my first day back home, when Sasha looked at me and said, I feel like I have to jump off a bridge. Being married feels like being in jail. Thank God she didn't say being married to you. Don't panic, I thought. I'd heard about this happening. I've seen couples poke fun at their post-honeymoon freakouts on the camp classic, The Newlywed Game. I looked at the shelf that held the dime and ring, the Charlie's Angel card, and the Las Vegas topographical map Sasha had purchased 2 days before. Kitsch had gotten me into this, and kitsch would get me out. Don't worry, I said. I raced to the corner pharmacy, hustling to the toy section, and bought a Monopoly set. It's Birch Pharmacy. Tearing off the wrapping and opening the box while still standing at the cash register, I rifled the game for a get-out-of-jail-free card. Here, take this, I said to Sasha, offering the card when I got back home. You don't need to jump off a bridge to get out of this jail. With this card, you can get out free. Sasha laughed, and I thought it was going to be okay, but it wasn't. Within a couple of weeks, it became obvious that I had not married my soulmate, but a stranger. A couple of months later, heartbroken, I sat with Sasha in my lawyer's office, signing dissolution papers, hearing my soon-to-be ex-wife make casual jokes to my lawyer about marriage with a Las Vegas sensibility being invariably and goofily doomed. Maybe Sasha was right, I thought, stunned at what had just happened. One should love kitsch or cheese or any aesthetic, I realize, not fall in love over it. Hip is not necessarily from the heart. Dime and rings don't speak from the soul. One should not mock Las Vegas singers who are nice enough to send champagne upstairs to honor the marriage of the mockers. And most of all, it dawned on me, irony is a terrible companion on Valentine's Day. My next girlfriend said, you should have said ironing is not a good, you know. So I had another fucked up relation. Anyway. Sitting on my kitchen floor a couple of days after signing my divorce decree, I held Wayne Newton's bottle of Dom Perignon to my chest and tried to decide whether to decided to throw it away or guzzle it right there myself. Instead, I placed the unopened champagne in the rear of my closet. It would still go to my grandchildren, I decided. Not a blessing or a curse, but as a warning. Funny thing about it, it tells you about the New York Times, they were so fucked up about me, this is nuts, Wayne, is they made a mistake and they made me say, like, the marriage was over in a couple months and it was, they changed it from I realized, so everyone thinks I was married for like 3, like Ethel Merman and Ernest Borgnine. Ethel Merman left Ernest Borgnine on day 6 of their honeymoon. Anyway, happy Valentine's Day. I'm telling you, if you're married and you can't get a date on Valentine's Day, it sucks. The last year spending it at the Suicide Survivors Club was worse. Just to bring it down for the next person. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Hi, Anna. Thank you. Thank you.